Happy Holy Thursday, everyone. Okay, I wanted to make this quick video because I noticed that not only is the expression Christ the King blowing up on social media, but I noticed that a Christian woman, Candace Owens, is being attacked viciously. Even some unfair attacks, I believe, from Catholic commentators. And I noticed there's immense distortion in the attacks against her. Candace is being accused of anti-Semitism. The feud with Ben Shapiro that began shortly after October 7th has been brought up again, especially tweets exchanged in mid-November. And if we actually look at these tweets, we realize that these accusations of anti-Semitism are absolutely unmerited in reference to her usage of Christ the King. So let's look at the tweets. First, at one point in this feud, Candace made the decision that she is going to report on what's happening to the Palestinians, on the fact that the Israeli military is slaughtering tens of thousands. Today it's over 30,000 Palestinians, half of them children, most of them civilians, and that this is unjust, it's deplorable, it's disgusting. The UN recently called it a genocide, and she made a decision as a conservative commentator that she will openly report on this tragic reality. Ben attacked her in terms of having a strong pro-Israel position that wanted to have no criticism of Israeli military policy. And Candace replied at one point by quoting the gospel. She went into the Sermon on the Mount. This is what her tweet says. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. No one can serve two masters. Either you will hate the one and love the other, or you will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. So beautiful. Candace appealing to the gospel, understanding that her decision to speak out for the Palestinians against the atrocities committed against them is partially her responsibility as a Christian who wants to live the gospel well. Ben Shapiro responded to this by explaining, Candace, if you feel that taking money from the Daily Wire somehow comes between you and God, by all means quit. And Candace tweeted back, famously now, Christ is King. And when you consider this, when you consider the context of this reality, you realize in her tweet, Christ is King, there is absolutely nothing here that speaks against Shapiro's Judaism, that is an attack against Jewish people, that is bigoted. It is literally her expression of saying, I will take a stance, I will use my platform to actually report what's happening, including a necessary critique of Israeli military policy that has killed over 30,000 human beings, most of them civilians, half of them children. I will speak against this because in the decision of following God or Mammon, Mammon would say, you simply follow the platform that will be most professionally beneficial to you, that will make you most money, that will keep your job safe. And that's an ethic that compromises moral conviction. That's an ethic that compromises spiritual values. But she said, no, Christ is King. That's where I'm going with my decision. So this is noble. This is an admirable declaration. And I've actually been a little disappointed with certain Catholic commentators who have been critical, and commentators who I have immense respect for. One of them is Lila Rose. Lila Rose, one of the great advocates of the pro-life movement, a woman who has done so much to save lives, a woman who is such an articulate, eloquent defender of Christian values. Catholicism, has partaken in many debates, even in secular media, and is just a shining light in the church, and I have nothing but respect for her. But this is what Lila wrote. I actually disagree with these words. Even Satan knows and admits that Christ is Lord. As Christians, may we profess Christ's kingship in humble awareness of our great needs for his saving grace. Using the phrase to show disdain for non-believers or to insist that our own social and or political status be elevated here on earth above non-believers is the opposite spirit in which Christ reigns eternally. His rule points us to service. Now, I do agree with the objective statements, right, which Lila is getting at, that to use the expression Christ is Lord is to have a humble recognition of being sinners who are in need of his grace and that we are to serve. But these words, if they are a reference to Candace Owens, as one can easily imply, are absolutely unfair to her. Specifically, as Lila says, using the phrase to show disdain for non-believers or to insist that our own social or political status be elevated here on earth above non-believers is the opposite of the spirit of the phrase. Candace Owens used the phrase to justify her courageous decision that was unpopular at the Daily Wire, that is unpopular at many mainstream media outlets in America, to actually speak out against the atrocities of the Israeli governments, to speak out for innocent human lives, including tens of thousands of children who have been killed. Lila, as a great advocate for the pro-life movement, who of course has done so much for innocent human life, I think should be appreciative of this reality. And I think it's disingenuous if we do not consider the context in which Candace is speaking to make the claim or the accusation that she is somehow using the phrase to throw disdain at non-believers, especially Jews, non-believers in terms of Jesus as Lord, or to use it to elevate her social or political status, when it's this decision that led to her parting ways with the Daily Wire. It's this decision of standing up for Palestinian rights and criticizing Israeli policy that led her to be the victim of many anti-Semitism attacks, unfounded attacks, attacks that are using the phrase anti-Semitism in a weaponized political way to dissuade attention from Israel's crimes against the Palestinians. So I actually applaud Candace here. She has used the phrase appropriately in terms of pointing out the personal decision that she had to make. Is she going to follow Mammon and simply go with a narrative that is being promulgated by mainstream media? Or is she actually going to acknowledge what's happening? The UN recently used the expression genocide. A UN representative used the expression genocide to describe the killing of over 30,000 Palestinians now. And Candace has acknowledged this reality, this tragic reality. She has spoken truth, and for that she has said, Christ is Lord. I will follow my moral conscience. I will follow my responsibility as a Christian. There's nothing anti-Semitic about that. It's not a criticism of anyone's Judaism. It's a reflection of deciding that I will live in integrity, even if it means professional persecution, even if it means losing my job. I will transcend that, and I will say Christ is King, and because he is the King of my heart, I will speak out against the injustice that is transpiring.